Right. I'm not doing the stats video today, and I'm going to apologize to people for that because I know there's people like, I want the stats videos. What I found last year was when I did the stats video every single week, eventually you get diminishing returns. So I'm going to do that every second week. This is something fun that I want to do every second Wednesday as well. So what I'll do, I'll put all the logos on the board. I'll probably just take a picture of it with my phone, post it on Instagram, and this is unscientifically speaking the panic level. So if your team's panicked, you're down here at Rick and Morty level of panic. If things are great, you're at the happy face. So this is yay, this is arg. Now, there's also meh, which is we're doing well, but yeah, we'll see what happens, and who cares? Meaning, yeah, things haven't been great, but who cares? So trying to gauge just from what I've seen online, and again, just from the way things have gone so far this year, and consider this sort of like not power rankings, as not power rankings as you can get. Because here's the thing. It is possible as the season goes along that a team could be pretty high in the power rankings, and yet there could be some panic in the fan base. So again, we'll see how it goes. If it goes really well, then I'll keep going, and then if it doesn't, you guys know how this works. Anaheim. I got to think pretty close to the happy face if you're the Ducks right now, because it's been a pretty good season for them. Arizona, maybe not as high up, but pretty happy too, and things are going pretty well. Boston, I'll put them up right next to Anaheim. Yep, pretty good feeling if you're a Bruins fan right now. Buffalo is the happy face. Let's be honest here. Buffalo is pretty high up there, pretty good. Calgary, I'm going to put them right on the line because from game to game, you never know what you're getting with the Flames. They could be great. They could be poor. Carolina, right up there with Buffalo, baby. They are absolutely, killing it so far. Chicago, I don't know. They haven't really played enough yet. I'll stick them right in the middle of the board. Depends on how you feel today about them. Colorado, yep, they go up there too. So those are 3 fan bases so far that should be quite happy. Columbus, we're not expecting a lot from them, so I'll put them leaning sort of into the who cares category. Not really a panic because there wasn't a lot expected of them. It's not going to be yay, and it's not going to be meh either because they're not doing really well, and people are like, meh. Dallas, I would put them right close to that Rick and Morty panic level. And this, again, is among fans more than anything else. The team doesn't seem to have that. According to Bob McKenzie yesterday, the team feels they are good enough to pull themselves out of this, to which I thought, dear God, no. Detroit, I'm going to put them as a mild yay. Just sort of a mild rate. They had a good start. They've had a bad couple of games. It's kind of taken some of the fun out of it for them, but not too bad. Edmonton, this is different from power rankings too, because you guys know what logo's coming next. Edmonton, they're really, really happy fan base. Things are going pretty well. Florida, I'm going to put them on the line. Depending on the game, you're either really happy with how things going or not so much. LA, I'll put them down here with Columbus because not much was expected from LA. So if they're going to struggle, and they had a shutout loss last night against Carolina, if they struggle, it's not really a huge surprise. Minnesota, I'll put them down here. So there wasn't a whole lot expected from them. So there's going to be a lot to think who cares, and yet there are fans that want to see it fixed. So kind of in the middle down here. Can't put them up in here because they've only got 1 win so far. Montreal, Montreal's tough because, again, how much was expected of them this year? I'll put them on the line with Florida and Calgary. I'm kind of half tempted to put them on this side of the line, but I'll put them right there. Nashville, happy fans. Not ecstatic, but after that win over Vegas, feeling kind of good. New Jersey is the Rick and Morty one. They're right down here. And And I can't really argue that that's not an accurate feeling for them right now. The Islanders, they're really kind of in the middle too. Some concerning things with the Islanders I've seen so far this year. It doesn't look quite the same as last year, but again, early on last year, it didn't look like how it ended up either. The Rangers, do we really have enough of a sample size with the Rangers? Not really, although optimism is still abounding right now. So there's a meh feeling because there's not enough games. There's kind of a yay feeling because there's still these new faces. You've got Trouba, you've got Panarin, and there's this good feeling that they're going to put it together and have a good season for their goaltender. Ottawa, they are the epitome right now of who cares. Because Ottawa, yeah, they've been bad. They were supposed to be bad, and so they've been bad. The only team they've beaten so far is Tampa. So I don't think that's necessarily a surprise that they're near the bottom, and I don't think the fan base right now, in between low attendance and a low expectation, yeah, that's the epitome right now of who cares. Philly, it's turning. Philly to me is more on the downward side. I'm not going to put them above the line because of their last two losses. They're going into Edmonton tonight. There's some concern percolating there. Voracek, slow start and whatnot. Pittsburgh, pretty good feeling in Pittsburgh. I'll put them with Nashville because, yeah, Pittsburgh, it's a pretty good feeling right now. Malkin gets hurt. Everybody gets hurt, and they get better. San Jose, it's getting better. There's still definitely somewhat of a mess for them to dig their way out of. Who thought Marleau was going to be the solution, though? Hey, 2 goals and an assist in 2 games. That's fantastic. Good for him. St. Louis, you know what? Things are pretty good for St. Louis, but the Blues fans are still on a high from winning the Stanley Cup. So, things are going good. But you know what? If this team loses in the first round, the fans aren't really going to worry about that this year because they won the Cup in 2019. The real pressure on the Blues wouldn't come until next year. And that would be regardless of how things turn out. So let's say they win a back-to-back Stanley. Let's just say they win it again in 2020. The pressure then in 2021, I think, would be there simply because you want that 3 in a row. You want to be the first team that's won 3 in a row since the Oilers in the 80s. That would be some serious bragging rates after about 50 years of being seen as a not great team. Tampa, I'll put them on the line. Because, again, the results early, 3 wins in 6 games. Not really a reason to panic. Not really a reason to be all ecstatic about it. Toronto's always seemingly... I'm going to put them on the bit of the ARG side. It's always. The pressure every single game in Toronto is ridiculous. And even though they're 4-2-1, they're 1 game away from that panic level start. And you know what? This for me is more media than fans. I don't see it as much from the fans as I do from the media. The problem is if you're a fan, you can't get away from it in Toronto. Really, in all honesty, in Canada, it's hard to get away from the hype or the panic about the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is a big part of the reason why there is resentment towards Toronto in Canada, is the amount of coverage they get in comparison with the other Canadian teams. And so I don't hold that against the Leafs anymore. I did before this channel started, and it's part of the reason this channel started. So there you go. Vancouver, I'll put Vancouver here with Nashville and Pittsburgh. Pretty decent start for Vancouver. The 2 losses they had a lead in Edmonton, and then they blew it. And in Calgary, they played a good game. They just didn't win it. So overall, Vancouver, things feel pretty good. Vegas, I'll put them a bit on the yay side, just ever so slightly. Again, if they're playing a Pacific Division team, they're great. If they're against somebody who's not Pacific Division, they seem to be having problems with that early on. So for Vegas, there's still a lot of optimism towards this season. And, of course, you can just point and go, well, Nate Schmidt's out, and then that just fixes everything. For the Capitals, you know what? It still feels like it's, man, who cares with Washington? So they're kind of in the middle. There's no panic, and there's no, overly ecstatic fan base right now that I've seen, or just in general about the Caps. There's not a whole lot being written about them. unless it's Ovechkin, right? Or is Braden Holtby going to get replaced by Samsonov? And today Todd Reardon's like, no. And the fans are like, yes. So that's as close as you can get to an issue right now. And Winnipeg, I'm going to put them a little bit below that line too. And Winnipeg, it's been an uneven start and a lot of defensemen that are out of the lineup and all of these things that will affect the Winnipeg Jets for the negative. But I don't get a sense from Winnipeg that there's a panic yet. So the only two that I see really in a panic state I would qualify as Dallas and New Jersey. Like I said, I'm just going to take a picture of this with my phone, and we can do this every couple of weeks and see where teams move. So I don't know a way to quantify this. You guys can let me know who you'd move up and who you'd move down. This is a lot less serious, obviously, than the power rankings, and just kind of a fun thing to do every second Wednesday. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And 2 weeks from now, let me know who you think's going to move up and who you think's going to drop and who's going to end up where. And who belongs more on the meh, who cares side, because right now it feels like there's a lot of impassioned fans or kind of meh, and then, yeah, so here's kind of in between, and then over here you've got, well, Ottawa owns, who cares. Right now, from what I can see, Ottawa kind of owns, who cares. But let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Promise, this is the last video for the day. I knew what I was doing this morning, and the Tampa one I kind of shoehorned in the middle there because I felt like I needed to clarify why I felt the way I did about Tampa so far this year. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support, and I will talk to you again soon.